What's up, everybody? I'm Apollo. This is Late Great Game Reviews, and this week I am reviewing Outlast for the PS4. It's developed by Red Barrels. It originally came out in September of 2013. Came to PlayStation 4 in early February. And overall, it's a pretty good game. It's a survival horror game. The basic plot is you play as a reporter named Miles Upshur, who's been basically he's received an anonymous tip that this place called Massive Asylum, which is a mental asylum deep in the mountains, isolated, perfect setting for a survival horror game, that they've been doing inhumane experiments there, and boy have they. um, it's yeah, I mean, basically Miles gets there in the beginning of the game. And he finds he gets inside and is instantly trapped in there. He can't get back out the front door. So the main objective of the game is just to get out. And yeah, you fight a lot of the patients there, who are horribly mutilated and disfigured. And yeah, the character model work for that is really good. The game's really gory, but not too gory. They step on that gore line really nice, because it's really gory but not too gory that it makes you laugh and it's funny. It's still really pretty gross, and some pretty horrible things happen to Miles throughout the game. Some pretty brutal things. Yeah, some dark things in the game. And the title Outlast, I mean, you read that, the title is the whole game. You really do have to outlast. You're a reporter. You have a camera. That's it. You can't defend yourself in any way. You have your camera. You can use the night vision on the camera to navigate the darkness of the asylum halls and the sewers and all the environments you go through in your quest to get out. And there is a lot of darkness in the game. So your camera runs out of battery power, so you have to constantly look for batteries throughout the environment, and you really do have to conserve them, and you have to pick and choose when you're going to use them, because if you run out of all your batteries in the darkness and you're being pursued by these enemies, you're in bad shape. You will not survive. So it really does feel like survival horror. It's great. And the biggest thing that, I mean, it's a pretty scary game. I'm a seasoned survival horror player, I would say, but it's pretty scary. It's not super scary. I didn't find it super scary. I know a lot of people do, and I can understand why. I mean, like I said, you can't defend yourself at all. You are very vulnerable. You can hide in lockers. You can duck under obstacles to narrowly avoid the grasp of enemies pursuing you. You can vault over objects and climb into vents. But there are no weapons there are no melee attacks. There's nothing. It's literally you and your camera and those scarce batteries you get. So it's just that feeling of vulnerability is enough to make it really scary. Unlike something like, say, Daylight, which I recently reviewed a couple of weeks ago, where that game really relies on jump scares and really the same gimmick again and again. Outlast is a good game, and there's a couple jump scares here and there, but mostly it's just the really creepy atmosphere, the really the fact that these enemies are pursuing you and all you can do is run. You have to outlast them. That's the whole point. Yeah, creepy atmosphere, great creepy eerie music, very haunting, great soundtrack throughout. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple problems. The story is pretty much non-existent, and when it really start getting into it as the game progresses, and really late in the game, the story goes from kind of to more incohesive to just kind of in the end nonsensical, and the game ends in a very strange way. And before the game ends, there's a sort of, I wouldn't say it's a twist, but it's very different than the way I thought the game would go, and It's very strange, but it really, honestly, the story comes apart at the end totally, and it's just a mess. There's also really weird load screens, and I'm not talking like classic Resident Evil where you go through a door and there's a load screen of the door and that's it. I'm not talking that. I'm talking you're just running around, you're going in the environment, just run around, nowhere near a door or any sort of checkpoint, and everything stops and there's a load screen. Actually, I had a load screen where everything stopped and then it really stopped. It froze, and I had to restart the game. Kind of strange, especially on the PS4. But yeah. Oh yeah. Also the batteries. Like I said, you find batteries to put in your camera. It's so easy. Like with the press of a button, triangle on the PS4 controller, you can with that single press of a button, you can accidentally reload a battery. And like I said, the batteries are scarce. You have to really conserve them. And so, if you accidentally use up a battery and you're being pursued by an enemy and it's total darkness and your current battery is like low, you're in big trouble. And that happened to me more than once, many more times than once, and it's just kind of irritating. And I would have hoped that the game would compensate and like say, okay, the character just put in a fresh battery. What it would be nice if it would say, oh no, um, there's a fresh battery already in there. You don't need to put another battery in right now, But it doesn't. It just lets you put in a battery even though the current battery is full. It's a little annoying. It's not a huge thing, but I would think that it would have been easily fixable. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know much. I don't think I really have anything else to say about it. Outlast is a pretty scary game. Great atmosphere, great soundtrack, just great concept of just you're constantly in the dark, and there's certain sections where the game plays with light and shadows and stuff, and it's for the most part it's really well done. Like I said, at the end it comes apart, but aside from that, I mean the level design is pretty good too. There's different. There's not a whole lot of variety in the environments, but it's there. It's enough so that the levels are designed well enough so that at least it's not a maze. Although there is one part at the end where it's kind of like I got lost, but for the most part I could find my way pretty easily. Yeah, I mean that's Outlast. I definitely recommend it. I got it for free back when it came out on PS4, and I just didn't play it until now. Not sure how much it is in the PlayStation Store now, but it's definitely worth checking out. I'm gonna give Outlast a 7 out of 10. This has been Late Great Game Reviews. I'm Apollo. I will see you guys and girls next week.